Tell you what, a few days of consciously cutting things back, and it's made quite a bit of a difference actually. I'm sure you've noticed from the video where I was quite miserable and saying that I was just kind of cutting things away and getting rid of stuff, to now the videos since have been much more cheerful. But I was just thinking, talking to my family, and that actually getting rid of the bits that were doing my head in, eliminating all the noise from my social media feeds, eliminating all the bits that I was a bit fed up with, not wasting time on even on TV shows I just wasn't interested in watching, and generally only watching stuff if I had nothing better to do, has made a really, really big difference to my week. And it's only been like 4 days. I've completed a game, which I don't do that often. Mario Odyssey on the Switch. I completed that because instead of watching telly, I tried to sort of unwind by just figuring out the puzzles on that, which sounds like a fruitless endeavor, but I feel like the fact it was challenging and it was sort of stimulating and it was fun and it was a bit more social made a difference. You know, trying to do the end boss with the kids. We were fighting it. Well, I was fighting it and they were cheering me on, and it was quite a family sort of centric thing, and trying to do there's like an end chase bit where you're running through this, like the whole world's falling apart, and it was just fun and dramatic, and it felt like we were actually doing something, whereas I think normally we would just kind of have a film on or a TV show on, or the kids would go to bed and Mrs. Sheepdog and I would just watch something and just kind of plow through it, and I just feel like I'd sat there for 3 or 4 hours just looking up stuff on my phone. Mrs. Sheepdog had asked me about the fact that part of me saying, "Oh, you know, I need to sort of cull stuff and sort of stuff." She said to me, "Spend less time on your mobile." She said, "When I'm watching telly or whatever, I'm also on WhatsApp, I'm also on Twitter, I'm also on Facebook, I'm also on everything, just getting wound up by the news or debating about stuff or you causing arguments or having arguments or whatever it is." And she said to me, "Just put your phone down." And so those who know me quite well will be shocked to know that I tried it. I did it for a few nights, and it has been different. I've been sat there chatting to Mrs. Sheepdog while she finishes up her work for the day, or because being a social worker, she has to work till all bloody hours. So, yeah, she's been there still typing away at 9:30 at night, and I've been chatting away to her, bending her ear about nonsense. I was talking to her about projects I'm working on. I was talking to her about the plans I've got on stuff. I've been sat there, messing around with some of them. I'm in a kind of a position at the moment where I don't know what to do. I've been writing this plan for a story that I'm quite excited about. I've been working on it for ages, and I've got, so rather than sitting there and trying to physically write the pages of a book just from start to finish, I've been trying to plan it out in chunks, and I've got like the chapters are set, one character, then the next character, then back to the first character, then back to the second character. And it's alternating each chapter. That's the way I want it to be told, because I think it works quite well for the story I'm telling. And so I've gone through and I've written all the different chapters like that. And I hadn't picked the book up for about a month and just sort of sat there and was like, I really need to push on with this. And I've started playing around with it again. And I have started writing some of the bits out, but then I was like, do I want to do this as a proper words on a page book that you flick through and read, or do I want to do this with pictures, because obviously a picture tells 1,000 words and all that sort of stuff? And I'm thinking, it's no quicker, it's no easier, it's actually harder, because I need to transfer what I'm thinking to somebody who can draw. But now I'm quite excited because I've cut back a bit and I've let myself have a bit of breathing room. I've suddenly started thinking about things I actually want to do and have fun with. And I was thinking about it today. I was like doodling out on a piece of paper, thinking if I can actually take some time to do rough drawings, it'll make a lot more sense, and I can give that to somebody and say, you know how to draw, let's work on this together, that sort of thing. So that's quite exciting. I'm trying to think what else we've really had that's changed. I mean, I'm excited because I'm this close to finishing Pokemon Go for good. Not for good, but 100% finished with all the Pokedex until they bring out new ones, which sounds like an odd thing. But once I've done that, I can then use time to focus on something else. And it's like, I enjoy doing it, but it's like, it frees up a bit of time. It's just, I'm excited because I feel like I'm not oversubscribed to the things I like doing. I'm not wasting time and just being bogged down. I had a very honest discussion with Mrs. Sheepdog, and we've very much sort of cleared the air, and I feel a lot better. Bless her, she's got a horrible cold now, and Boo Boo's got a cold, and Bosco's got a cold, and Lampup's got a cold, and I'm the only one who doesn't have one. So part of me's wondering whether I had just had a cold last week and that was why I was getting so miserable, but it maybe just come out in a different way. I don't know, but no, I feel decent today. I feel good. I feel happy. Last night I was very happy. Bosco getting his certificate put me in a really good mood. He took it into school today, and they actually got him to stand up. He told his teacher about it, and she put him up in assembly to talk about it in front of the class. Everyone in the school gave him a round of applause. He got given a couple of these like little slip things that they give students for like house points and that. And he was well chuffed. He's in such a good little mood. He's in such a good place, and I feel really pleased because I don't know if I mentioned on the video, but I rang his head at the end of term last year and basically barked at him for half an hour about how I didn't like the way he was sort of telling kids off. He was kind of giving them a red slip to say you've been bad, but then he wouldn't just leave it at that. It would come up again at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the term. He'd sent them all home for the year, and it was like, what a way to just turn on his entire, you know, emotions and everything. When he got his folder back and it was talking about, oh, this is what you did in maths, science, history, and it was like, and here's the umpteenth times you were naughty in school, and he was really downbeat. So I just got the phone the next day and rang. This term, it seems like they're just got rid of that. He's listened. I'm well chuffed with that. He's listened, and he's just they've started to they'll tell us if there's stuff that we need to talk about, like little things, nothing major, you know, nothing naughty, nothing. They've just said to us, oh, we want to make sure we work on this, we want to make sure we work on that, and it is so much nicer. We're only a week in, but it feels good, and I think that's another thing that's kind of just off my plate. The worry that Bosco is going to go in and just have someone hounding him all the time and just pushing him and telling him he was bad or whatever, which I don't think that's exactly what they were doing last term, but it feels like there's been a switch, there's been a change of attitude, and he's already seeming a lot better because of it. Lampup's starting to get old though, and she's starting to become a teenager, and she's acting like it now. So that's an interesting development, because we'll see what happens there. But no, it feels nice to not have anything doing my head in at the moment. All I really want to do now is focus on getting stuff written, and I keep saying that, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I do mean it, and I am doing stuff, and I am working on it, and I am actively, you know, pursuing things. I think culling back my Twitter feed was inspired and so useful in itself, getting rid of the people that are making noise, because what's happened is I mentioned on Mature Gamer and I mentioned on the videos that some people accidentally got cold. So if you have a look and you see I don't follow you and I did follow you before, or even if I don't follow you and you follow me and you want me to follow you, let me know, because I used the tool and I culled like, well, it must have been about 1,000 people, and then someone messaged me, go, hey Sheepdog, you unfollowed me by mistake. And I was like, oh, thank you for telling me, because it genuinely was. Like, I'm not just saying it to avoid, you know, save face or avoid offending people. It genuinely isn't intentional. I just essentially told it to unfollow all people from a certain time period by mistake. It was like I hadn't intended it to be a time period. I was just first thing I was trying to do was unfollow the most recent 500 people, because I'd followed a lot of them, but I kind of did it wrong, and it ended up following a load of people up to a certain point, and then it just went a bit nuts. Every time I was clicking it was doing the wrong thing. But anyway, because of that, I've connected with a few people that I hadn't really spoken to that much before. People have been really supportive about stuff. They've shown that they do watch these videos, and you know, they've heard me talking about whatever thing, and they're talking to me about it. But then somebody was talking about a book they were writing, and I asked them a question, mainly because it sounded a lot like something I'd already read and something that's quite prominent. And we had a bit of a discussion, and she just basically said, well, she just basically gave me advice that's been really useful about the stuff I'm working on, because she basically said, don't start soliciting people to make or commission your work. Get an agent, because an agent will protect you on legal grounds. They'll protect you from plagiarism. They'll protect you from the just abuse. They'll protect you by telling you what you need to do. And that sent me in a new direction, which I'll talk about on another video another time, I think. But it confirmed that we were pretty much along the right lines with our work that I was working with my friend, and the bits I'm looking at, that to get them that extra bit that we do need somebody who's qualified to look at it. And so that is something that I'm going to work on, because my life works like that. Something happens, something else happens, and then out of nowhere, as a side effect, a completely unintentional side effect, something good happens. And that I've mentioned before, that's pretty much how I met Mrs. Sheepdog. My friend was late for an event, and I met her because I was bored in a bar and just started talking to her. You know, just weird stuff like that happens to me all the frigging time. And right now, I mean, that's why I'm writing with someone. That's just everything. That's why I went to uni. So at the moment, it's just inspired that someone's just said this, that's given me a new focus. But yeah. It's only been 4 days since I had a little whinge, and I don't want to sound really shallow, like it only took that to fix things. I just think getting an inch of breathing space has made all the difference, and I'm still going to carry on culling. It feels like it was the good thing to do. Unless I really want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do things I don't want to do that I have to do, but fun-wise, if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to force myself to do it because I've watched 100 episodes already, or I've already started it, or whatever nonsense, because I was forcing myself to do things, or we force ourselves to go out for a day because we think we shouldn't stay home, and then we get all worn out and miserable out because none of us are in the position to do it. So I'm saying to Mrs. Sheepdog, you're under the weather, we're not going to do anything this weekend, you're going to look after yourself. It sounds obvious, but I reckon a lot more people have this problem than maybe they realise, and we definitely did. We were doing more than we needed to, and my mum said to me, you guys are way too busy. She was like, you do way too many things, and it did make me think she's right, we do. And I don't like telling her she's right too often, because you know what mums are like, they start telling you more things if they think they're right once. I'd like to caveat it with a broken clock is still right twice a day, and that's her. That's one of her 2 times she's allowed this year. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Subscribe, like, comment. I just wanted to basically say it's been a nice week. It's got better. I think it's weird. When I spoke on Monday night, I didn't think that 4 days on I'd be going, do you know what? It's already having an effect, and maybe it felt worse on Monday because I was just so under the weather from just feeling a bit rough and tired and whatever. And the fact that that's cleared has been great. But yeah, I'm going to go now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.